so much for joining me for another episode of 10 Minute Tuesday. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. In today's episode, we got the great Dr. Brandeis in the building.
Woo-hoo!
Doctor, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm cold. That's why I got my sweater on. But other than that, I'm good. How about
Great.
you?
I'm great. We're preparing for the storm that's about to come. So I went grocery shopping this morning, and it was slim pickings already. So it's been one of those days, but we're good.
Yeah, I gotta get out to the stove too. So
Yeah.
we'll see what's left.
Yeah. You're pushing it too. So hopefully you get something. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we've done a number of these, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, Dr. Brandeis, if you could introduce yourself to the people.
All right. So I am a former college professor turned data entrepreneur. I do data consulting in data and AI governance. So I work with learning organizations and corporate individuals who care about responsible AI and ethical data practices. So I'll just stop there. That's me.
No,
That's what
I
I
mean, I
do.
love it. I love it, right? I love that you put the responsible portion of it. Professor, you started your own thing. You wear a lot of different hats. I follow you on LinkedIn to see everything that you're doing. But I guess the follow up to that is, you had to get your start somewhere. So what really
Yeah.
compelled you to get into data to even begin with?
Okay, so I'm Gen X, right? Like I squeezed in the door when Gen X was closing. So I squeezed in and I'm half digital and half analog. What that means is that I was sitting in college right at the dot-com boom bust.
Mhm.
And that's when I realized like, okay, all these systems, they ain't worth anything. They ain't worth nothing. They just gonna continue to be fickle, continue to need updates. What really drives this whole industry of computing, because I was a computer science professor, and of course all my degrees are in computer science. I was like, it's the data. Data runs all of this. So I decided that data was my path. I wanted to understand databases, wanted to understand how data moves through systems. And so that's what I did when I started grad school. And that's what I wound up getting my PhD in was in information retrieval. And so that to me was the beginning when I realized that everything I learned in computing was surrounding around what's the data input, what's the data output, and how is it being manipulated in between.
Wow. So it's fascinating, right? Because a lot of people I interview are typically millennials, because I'm a millennial and below. And so to
I'm sorry.
hear, no, 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 we're great. It's awesome. We're fantastic, right? We like to say we're that footprint right before we still know how to talk to human beings, but then we're
Yeah.
digital. So we're the last of the Mohicans, for lack of a better word.
Really,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. But where I was going with that is being part of that world that was analog and digital. Are
Mhm.
there still old philosophies that you're seeing today that are relevant that even though we have this AI hype, there's still stuff that's been happening, last 30, 40 years or what have you?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I told someone the other day was like, please understand that tech doesn't work. And they looked at me with this face of like, what are you talking about? I said, okay, we still have software updates. Your so you still sometimes have issues with just getting online. You will have issues in your service being disrupted, right? Like the Zoom will all of a sudden freeze. You will all of a sudden no longer have a connection. So tech does not work. You have to create your systems that can be both digital and analog. So why people think tech is going to be the solution is beyond me because we've been dealing with the blue screen and the and the like the dial,
Yeah.
that swirling dial for the past 40 years.
Hmm.
And that has not changed.
No, it
At
hasn't.
some certain point, every single technology reaches its end life, and we're always trying to keep up. There's always patches, there's always new things coming out. But please understand that when it comes to technology, it is not working.
I love that. And that's a great reminder for me to have backup processes and analog processes and things that are needed for
Yeah.
that. All right. So pivoting a little bit
Mhm.
because you mentioned great career professor, now you're a CEO, you have
Yep.
a conference that you lead. But at a certain point, I'm sure you had a job that you didn't like. You
Yep.
could have worked at a theater and you're like, I hate the smell of popcorn. I'll never eat butter popcorn ever again. So, with that in mind, what's been your least favorite job to date that you ever
I
had?
think my least favorite job is my shortest job. I lasted like 3 hours and I was a telemarketer.
Oh.
I was a telemarketer. I think it was like 16 or something, 16 or 17. I was young. And I remember being in the call center, because, as I said, I'm Gen X. So it was back in the day, we actually had to go to a physical location to do the calling because you had the list of numbers that you had to call, and then you had a script next to you, had to read. La la la. Okay, for all those who don't understand what it's like to actually go to a place and actually have a call center. Okay, so um, I get on the calls, I'm calling, people hang up, people don't ask the questions, people say, I don't want this, bye. And I did it for like, I said 3 hours. I think I was supposed to be there like 6 hours. I didn't make it the entire day. I stopped, I came home. I told my parent, like, that was terrible. I'm not doing that again. I'm just, it's like I'm between that. And then they were like, okay, at least you know you don't like that. And then end of the year, I wind up getting my very first like 1099 document. And I was like, what is this for? Because I had completely blocked it out. Seku. Like I completely blocked it. I was like, what is this for? Why did I get this? What does this have to do with it? I was like, oh right. Okay. I'm not doing that again.
No, no.
So anytime there is any type of like you got to do like a lot of calling to people. So even when I was in college and they were like, oh, can you call the alums or call potential donors, as part of your like service as a college student. I was like, nope, not doing it.
No,
Mm-mm, did
no,
that. Mm-mm, nope,
no,
not
no,
me. Mm-mm, you
no.
don't want me doing that. Mm-mm,
Not my ministry. I'll do
mm-mm,
something else.
not my path. That is not what God put on my spirit. Not at all. We are done.
Love it. Well, you gotta get those early lessons on. So those early lessons become vital as we evolve and grow. So
Yes.
glad you got it. All right. So there's a philosophy I live by. It's called failing forward. So ultimately, everything
Okay.
you go through is never really a failure. You just learn it from that moment. So with that in
Of
mind, what
course.
would you consider your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience in your career?
Oh my God, my biggest failure. My biggest failure, I think, is unable to 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 like kneel to stupidity. I I can't do it. Like I just I if I see a train wreck happening in slow motion or in fast motion or even in medium motion, I will say something. And as an employee, that does not bode well.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I was not anymore built to be an employee. I could not follow directives that made no sense to me, that put other people that I felt in jeopardy in any capacity. So I think that's a failure in your terms. I call it a blessing
Yeah. Yeah.
because it meant that I let go of what my vision for my life was. I had seen that the dream that I thought I wanted wasn't my dream. I started to craft my own dream that was even bigger and broader and more impactful than what I thought my dream was. So I was able to really open up my thoughts and where I want to pursue. And that's why I started DataedX Group, was because I now saw a path to make impact that was beyond what I could ever do in the professor track.
Yeah.
Because my hope was to be a college professor. I mean, and a college president eventually. That was my big dream. I want to be a college president, do all these things, make all this impact. And I realized like I can't do it. I can't be in that administrative managerial track. Nope, Nope.
Yeah.
I see stupid and I just go no. Like it's not doesn't make sense.
I relate to that so much, especially being a person who's self-employed, right? You're running your own shop, your own thing. So I guess
Yep.
a question for you, because this is me, where when I see it and I recognize it internally, my heart's pounding, my brain is going, I should say something, I shouldn't say something, no, this is ridiculous. Like the internal dialogue gets so
Yeah.
loud to
Yeah.
where I have to negotiate with myself sometimes to let it go. And then by the time it's just too late, like it just has to come out. Like I have to express it because otherwise I'm
Falls
just going,
out.
yeah, it just comes out. But I don't think people understand like some of the internal dialogue that
Yeah.
we have to have amongst ourselves internally to not be, lack of better words, compliant to what is normalized in different areas that we might be at.
Yeah.
So
The internal dialogue is exhausting. And that's what made me feel as though I failed, was because I was like negotiating with myself all the time. Do I say something? Do I not say something? And as a college professor, I was in front of
yeah,
students so much. And then it became this notion of like, do I tell this student this or do I not tell the student this? If I tell the student this, then I might have to deal with some consequences from whatever office. Um, and so there's a lot of, yeah, that internal dialogue is exhausting.
yeah,
And so eventually it does come out your mouth. I wind up taking myself out of situations. I would not engage in certain conversations. I would intentionally zone out so I wouldn't hear. And then that's when I realized I was shrinking myself. And that's something that I would tell anyone listening, do not shrink yourself. If you find yourself shrinking, that means it's time for you to go to another job, go and do your side hustle, go and become an entrepreneur, investigate how to not shrink yourself, whatever that means for you. And of course, what makes sense for you, your like your livelihood. Like I don't want you out here like waffling, money. There's times in which you do have to,
yeah,
curtail your tongue in order to keep your job. But if there's a way in order for you to have a group of people who are outside the job that you can talk with, or have like a therapist, or whatever is the things that you need in order to maintain your peace and your sanity, do those things until you can get out of that situation that is strangling you.
yeah, yeah. Wise words, sound advice, stuff I listened to, which stuff I wish I would have listened to earlier in my career. So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, thinking about the target audience of the
Yeah.
podcast I'm going after is people who are just starting out in data, they're pivoting to data, or somehow this popped up on their algorithm and feed, and are like, "What is 10 Minute Tuesday? I'm just going to pull up and watch this episode."
Right.
So, with that, what is one piece of advice you give someone who's just starting out in their career?
Do not learn just the data tool or data service. Learn the fundamentals. Go back and learn how relational databases work from a MySQL, Oracle, DB2. I know, it's like old school tech, but learn the fundamentals. Because when you have the fundamentals, then every other iteration of data tool or platform or system, they all start looking the same. And you can be transferable in your data knowledge. And that's your goal, not just to learn the tool, but to be able to transfer your data knowledge to many other aspects of the data pipeline.
I couldn't agree more. Definitely learn the philosophies, fundamentals. Tim Duncan, all the different things. Just learn all the fundamentals. All right, tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact on you.
Most influential people in my life, of course, my parents, particularly my mom. She's in the silent generation. She's not silent though. Um, and learning from seeing the world through her eyes, particularly now, is It's a bit heartbreaking because there's things that she saw that she thought she would never see again that she's seeing again. And it's also inspiring to know that even at her big age, she still has a thirst and a passion for learning and being a better person every single day. So yeah, that's the most influential. And my dad is my dad is my dad. I talk to him every week, and it's always a good time. How much care that he puts into our relationship. So having a good dad-daughter relationship has been very impactful and rewarding. And so it's wonderful to have both parents around. They see me getting gray. They tease me, but I find it to be hilarious. They ask me how old I am. I'm like, what do you mean? Y'all were there, So it's just this wonderful um, this wonderful relationship when you can see your parents older and you're older, and it just is healthy.
Love it, love it. Shout out to Mama Marshall. Shout out to Papa Marshall. Shout out
Oh,
to the great
Hill. Oh, sorry, it's
Hill.
Hill.
Sorry, Hill. My
Yep,
bad,
yep.
my bad.
Married name is Marshall.
My
Okay,
bad.
Hill.
Assumption. My bad. Mama Hill, Papa Hill.
Hill.
My bad, my bad. Shout out to
No
Mom and
worries,
Pops.
no worries. I just want to
Yeah,
correct it because if they hear it, they'll be like,
yeah. They're gonna be like,
who are we talking
who's
about?
that?
Who are we
Yeah,
talking
my
about?
bad, my
Did you?
bad.
Did you?
Sorry, Mom and Pops. If I ever see you, I'll give you a big hug. That's flag on the play on me. My bad.
Flag on the play. Exactly. No
All right, where
worries,
can
no
listeners
worries.
find you at online?
Oh, please find me on LinkedIn. Just type in Brandeis Marshall. I will pop up. I'm the only Brandeis Marshall, I believe, on LinkedIn. So check out all of my content. Um, Check me out on just the interwebs. Beyonce's internet has me. I'm on YouTube. I got podcasts. You can binge a lot of my content, and I talk about this stuff day in and day out, and happy to talk with you directly about it as well. So you can slide into my DMs, and I'll be like, "What's up? How you doing? How you like this circus we're dealing with right now? And let's get to chatting."
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brandeis, for being on the pod. Appreciate you being on. This was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is amazing. So, as I said in the beginning, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Y'all have a great day.